My name is Cadence Porish, and I am a documentary filmmaker. My thesis is that young adults in 2024, in late high school to early college, are becoming more comfortable separating identity from the way they present to outside observers, therefore allowing for a more fluid ability to dress, act, and be interested in things that were previously reserved for one gender. This thesis is focused around sexism and how it expands from being a power struggle between men and women to being the struggle between authenticity and the power behind forcing others to conform. My peer-reviewed source for this project was the scholarly book Alien Woman, written by Ximena Gallardo-C and Jason C. Smith, published in 2004. The book examines the themes of sex and gender throughout the Alien franchise, especially focusing on the main character of the franchise, Ellen Ripley. I used quotes from this book to support both how a person or character can exhibit traits regardless of gender, and also how society has historically viewed people who exhibit both feminine and masculine traits. I chose to create a documentary for my project. I would like to create documentaries for a career, and I've always been infatuated with gender and women's studies, so the topic and the medium to present them with fell into place pretty naturally. Here I will show you a trailer for my documentary, and I will include clips as I deconstruct it afterwards. What Ripley taught the world from the very start in 1979 is that our traits do not make up our gender, but rather our personality.
Oh, I'm a girl. This is what a girl would wear.
External forces have always pushed young people into a box. Pushing your way out and finding yourself, and by extension your authenticity, takes intention and strength.
Everything can coexist at one time because we're all people and we all are complex in all of the things that we are.
The world changed a lot, and I also feel like my sense of self and everyone else has changed, and I'm able to see the different type of leaders there are in this world.
I think the best parts of masculine are that rigidness and that we're going to get there with this idea, and the femininity to change and to let the puzzle pieces fall into a way that isn't confining to a box.
I think people of all types are finally realizing how cool people can be and are no longer limiting themselves based upon traditional expectations.
It's not fair of anyone ever to say that you are something just because of the way you present yourself.
Young adults are discovering that the most powerful way to exist is to know their own identity and present to the world however they want to, regardless of external expectations and ideas. For my process in creating this project, I began with a thesis which involved the examination of gendered traits and how they affect leadership style. In order to make my thesis more unique, I focused on a specific age range. I worked on finding both gender and race diversity in my in-person interview subjects, while also finding the people who would be knowledgeable about the subjects I was asking about. My ideology for this project is that the freedom of expression that comes with separating identity from presentation extends past gender, race, age, and other labels. This ideology is present in my thesis and also my choices of interview subjects and topics that I discussed. I included a deconstruction of Ellen Ripley and her gender within the first 3 Alien movies. I wanted to create a narrative story for the documentary to follow, starting with Ripley in the 70s, and then moving the story to the present allowed for that narrative arc to be created. I sent out 2 surveys of differing themes in order to gather stories and statistics from a wider audience. These survey results were used in my final documentary. Throughout this process, I wanted to really highlight authenticity and the personal stories from the people who actually interacted with the concepts of my thesis. Subjects brought up moments in their personal lives and observations that supported my thesis in ways I could never imagine bringing up as a supporting point. The interconnected, woven perspectives of people who I interviewed and people who took my surveys created a thesis that was stronger than I could have ever created on my own. Throughout the process, I discovered a lot of new things, both personally and about the world around me. Learning that I am not alone in the way my presentation and gender interact allows me to feel more confident. I hope that watching this documentary will allow others to feel more confident in their presentation and identity as well. I also worked on finding what audience my piece was meant for. I wanted the narrative of this to be for everyone. It's not a straight or queer narrative, and it isn't bound by labels. This piece is targeted towards young adults, but can be taken in by any age audience. It is made especially so that people of any label can recognize their ability to present however they want to. It should be empowering for anyone and everyone who watches it. Culture, Race, and Media has broken so many of my mental barriers this semester. I think the #1 thing I've learned from the class is authenticity and the consideration of my own personal ideology. I worked really hard on this project in order to truly implement my ideology and lessons I've learned throughout this semester.